Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Modded Early Game. Aw, yeah. So today, previously we covered power generation, and then we covered power storage. Today, we're going to cover ore doubling. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Today we're going to cover the basics of ore doubling. And we're going to cover some basic machines. We're going to start with, I think one of the most very basic, which is this guy here. It's called the quartz grindstone. It is from Applied Energistics, and it needs this crank on top. So the grindstone is made like this. You need 3 quartz, and this can be quartz of pretty much any type, I believe. You can use another quartz here. You can see I have Certus quartz. I believe you can use charged Certus quartz, whichever one you happen to have. It needs a wooden gear, which is just 4 sticks. 3 stone, 2 cobblestone, and that gets you the grindstone. And then you need this wooden crank on top, which is crafted like this. So it's just 5 sticks like that. And so the way this works is you put some ore in there, however much you have, and then you hold right click on the crank until the crank stops. And that's it. And then eventually it will turn into 2 iron dust. So you saw I put in 1 iron ore and I got 2 iron dust. You go ahead and just smelt that up, and you've got yourself some iron ingots. The next one after that, I think that most people go to, I think this is probably the most popular early game ore doubling process there is. This is the smeltery from Tinker's Construct. This is a very, very basic smeltery. This is very, very, very basic. It can be bigger. It can do more. It can be automated. We're not looking at any of that today. Today we're just covering the basics. So to make the Tinker Smeltery, you need to start by making some grout. So there's this recipe which will give you 8 grout. You need 1 clay, 4 sand, 4 gravel. And then there's this recipe which will give you 2. So these are they give you the exact same yield per clay. Since there's 4 clay in a clay block, it gives, it's the same exact yield. And that's 1 clay, 1 sand, 1 gravel. And that'll give you 2 grout. You go ahead and cook that grout and you will get seared brick, which you can then turn into the different components for the Tinker Smeltery. One of the most basic components is the seared bricks, which is the main component of the smeltery. You will also need a smeltery controller, which is created like this using the seared brick. There you go. You will need a seared drain, which is crafted like so using the seared brick. You will need a tank, which is where you put your fuel. It is a seared tank, which is crafted like this. It's the same as the controller, just with a piece of glass in the center. Now, to put your ores in here, you just access this inventory, and the bigger the smeltery gets, the bigger this part here gets. So this scroll bar will eventually move, or you'll be able to eventually move the scroll bar to add more stuff in. You can shift click, or come on, give me that. Or you can just right click it in or whatever, and then it shows up in there, which is kind of cool. To get the stuff out, the most basic way of doing it is just like this, which you need the smeltery drain, which we saw there, and you also need the seared faucet, which is like this with the 3 seared brick. And you will need an ingot cast. Now, the way you make an ingot cast is, I forgot to grab an ingot. You will need an ingot to start. And so what I generally do, you can use either gold, and it's 2 gold ingots, or you can use aluminum brass, which is a mixture of tin and copper, I believe. I generally go with gold just because it's easier. And to switch because when I right click this, it will use whatever's in the bottom of the smeltery. And to change which one is in the bottom of the smeltery, you just click it, left click, and it will change what's in the bottom of the smeltery, which is the one it will use. So to get the ingot cast, you need to put an ingot, make sure your gold or your aluminum brass is on the bottom, right click that, and you will see it'll eventually fill up. And since this pack has Iguana's tweaks installed, it actually used up the ingot. Default Tinkers does not use up the ingot, so you'll get the ingot back. But there's your ingot cast, and then you have your iron in here, and you can just proceed to pour it out into there. It'll solidify, it'll cool down, and you get your ingot. Another way of doing it is, oh, I forgot to, this is the recipe for the casting table right there. Very nice. And then this is another way you can do it. This will turn it into blocks. And this is the way you craft that with the seared brick going like this. So it's the opposite of the casting table. And then you just put it below a seared faucet, right click, and it will fill the entire thing until there's 9 ingots worth of whatever in there, and then it will turn it into a block. And that is empty. And eventually it will cool down and you get yourself a block. And to take stuff out, you just right click. You can also put stuff in with a right click. So you can place stuff like that, but yeah. But that's just the basics of the ore doubling with Tinker's Smeltery. If you want more in-depth stuff with Tinker's Smeltery, you're gonna have to find that somewhere else. I think the next basic after that is the Refinery, but this guy doesn't just double ore. This guy has some special properties. Now, by default, this guy, it has a 50% chance per ore to double. So it's not a guaranteed ore doubling. But the reason I'm showing this guy is because look how cheap it is. It's 5 stone, 3 iron. It's almost, it's pretty much an uncrafting table for armor. And I believe tools work in it too. Like if you crafted a tool you don't need, you can cook it and it will, as long as it doesn't, if it has damage, I believe it'll give you back what, the equivalent of that. So, an iron axe costs 3 ingots. So if it has, some damage, it might give you back 2 ingots or 1 ingot, depending on the damage. But it also works on diamond. So you can, if you accidentally shift click your diamonds, making a diamond helmet, and you're thinking, oh, well, those are just gone. No, make yourself a refinery, toss it in there, and you will get all your diamonds back. And there we go. Very nice. But again, don't expect to put, a stack of ore in here and get 2 stacks of ingots. It's 50% chance per ore, so it's not guaranteed, and it just runs on pretty much anything that can burn. And there you go. See, that time it doubled, but again, it's not guaranteed. For guaranteed ore doubling, you need one of these or this. And this guy is the pulverizer. It is from Thermal Expansion. The same thing like all this is from. And the recipe for that is 2 flint, a piston, a machine frame, which is a basic machine frame, which is 4 iron, a tin gear, 4 glass. The tin gear is 1 iron, 4 tin, very cheap. And then a couple copper gears, which is iron with 4 copper. So that's actually 2 iron and 8 copper for 2 gears. And a redstone reception coil, which is 1 gold and 2 redstone. Very nice. Now, this guy, like the other thermal expansion machines, the sides are configurable. You can tell this guy input, this guy output. To change, you can see that one, I left clicked, it turned to input. If I right click, it backs up. Like it goes back instead of forward. And to clear all of them, you just shift left click the center, and it will clear all the inputs and outputs. Redstone control, and it is upgradable later on. This one is actually a resonant machine. This is the top tier machine. The one you would be making is this one right here, with the basic machine frame for early game. And it's very basic. You stick your ore in there and it grinds it out, gives you 2 of whatever it is, and then it has a chance to give you a secondary ore, or a secondary dust. I believe from gold you get copper. There's a chance you could get copper. So you may see a copper dust pop up in here every once in a while if you're grinding some gold. Or pulverizing some gold, I guess I should say. But there you go. And it's very, very this is what I tend to go with. This and this. So I usually go that early game, and then later on, once I have a bunch of power, I tend to switch to these. This one, by default, it's using 40 RF per tick. It's not using extra power, even though it's upgraded, because it doesn't have any of the augments that would, that make it use extra power. So, yeah. The next and actually last thing we're going to be talking about is the sag mill from Ender.io, and it's crafted as so. You need 3 flint, 4 iron, a piston, and a machine chassis. The machine chassis is 4 iron bars, 4 iron ingots, and a basic capacitor. The basic capacitor is 1 copper, 4 gold nuggets, and 2 redstone. Very nice. That'll get you that. And this works basically the same as that. You just toss your stuff in there. It will grind it down and give you 2 of the resulting, or 2 of the dust. And there it is. Now this guy, it can also be upgraded using capacitors. In here, the double layer capacitor and the octadic capacitor can go in here to increase the power storage and the speed. So it'll increase both, and only one can be in here at any given time. But it can also be upgraded, and I use quotes, upgraded, using flint or dark steel balls. Dark steel balls is not early game. I'm just showing that it can do that. So if you hold shift over flint, you'll see main output 120%, bonus output 125%, power production 15%, or power reduction 15%. So if you stick some flint in there, you can see I shift click that, it automatically went over here. And if I stick something else in there, it will start to use a piece. You see the piece of flint went away. It's using less power to grind out that thing, and there's a chance it will give more gold. It didn't that time, but there is a chance. You can see it's 120%. The dark steel ball is 150% main output, 200% bonus. So, I mean, but these guys, like, that's dark steel, 5 dark steel per ball. And each dark steel is obsidian, coal powder, and iron. So, definitely not early game thing here. I just wanted to show that it is, because if I didn't, people would say, well, you could use dark steel ball as well. So I just wanted to show it, yeah. But I would use flint. That's what I currently use. I don't see any real need to use dark steel balls, just flint. And this guy is also configurable. You can configure the in out, like if you want stuff to come in through the top. Again, you can hold left click here and move the thing around so you can see all the sides. And then if you want to change the side, you just right click. There you go. And each side can do in out. You can disable it. You can have none. You can have pull. You can have push. This guy, if you sit a chest on top, or like any of the sides, and you set it to pull, it will pulse items from the chest. So that is actually really, you don't need like hoppers going in. You just set the chest on top, throw your ores in it, have it hooked up to power, have something exporting it, have another chest here with push, and it will automatically just pull it, pulverize it, and push it. And it'll automatically go, or, have a furnace or, something there, and it will automatically push it out. So that's it. That's all. That's the basics of early game ore doubling. And again, this is, this one and these are the ones I generally go toward. I should probably have one of these because I shift click a lot. So yeah. All right, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this little segment, this little episode. Hopefully you found it useful, and I will see you all next time.